What's up, family? Another motivational moment. Daryl Bond, Motivi Media. When I last left off in the conversation, I was telling you how I just basically got released. Um, my brother had got me a phone, got my license. I was had to pay a little fine. My sister helped me out with that. I paroled to my younger sister's house. Thanks for all the family support. Never a day am I not thankful for that. Uh, so I got the interstate compact, which I was able to transfer from Peoria, my parole from Peoria to Indianapolis. Um, so my brother had gave me 6 months free on the cell phone. My sister, upon the interstate compact, what they do is they come by the house, they check the house out, verify the information, this and that, and kind of do a little quick conversation with her and basically say to her, are you in agreement to allow your brother to come here and stay rent free for up to 6 months? Because what they don't want is somebody to come from out of town, you know, and they just looking at an overall picture, not an individual picture. But they don't want a person to come from out of town and this is the only family that they got, and then they get there and for some reason, they end up out on the streets because this family member to put them out. So they basically asked my sister, you allow him to stay here for up to 6 months, rent free, basically. He may have these type of struggles, this and that, blah, 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 blah. So she in agreement and she locked in with that. I got the phone for free. Before I even left Peoria, I done got the car. You get what I'm saying? Because my mama had helped her. And then in the process, I helped my mom get a car. She had a car, a car that she had sitting in her backyard. That was her old car and started having problems. And I called up the tow company, you know what I mean? Had them come tow it. She got a few $100, you know what I mean? Then I helped her at the bank. Like I said, I had been educating myself on what to do and how to do. So when the time came, I knew how to talk and make these moves. And so anyway, I helped my mom get a car, called the credit union, basically asked what they would approve her for, this and that. And we went out one day, she got off work, and we went and shot for her a car. So the car that she was using, which was my sister's car, she ended up getting a new car, newer car. It wasn't brand new, it was new to her, new to you. That's how you should be looking if you're trying to get a car. It's something new to you, not brand new. But anyway, and so the car she was driving became mine. So when I come to Indianapolis, I got a car, and I was already had, the Lord was working and blessed me so much, I used to have to pinch myself. I'm talking about literally pinch myself at the way things was moving, because the first 90 days in Peoria, I built all the relationships up. And from there, I went and got the job. I was detailing cars. I got that job I had 2 jobs within the first week of me being in Indianapolis. One was at this little cleaning company, which I told, I went out to this job fair, and the lady said, I don't know what you drove all this way for, knowing, your situation. And I said, well, now I get this to anybody. Don't let nobody don't tell yourself no. I don't care what it is. Don't tell yourself no. Let somebody else tell you no. And be ready for the rejection. But don't count yourself short, no matter what you've done or what you've been through. I'ma always aim high. Because in my mind, I'm walking with the Most High. You get what I'm saying? So it's yes. I serve a God that's looking out for me. So I'm always thinking positive. I'm always thinking yes. So a human gonna have to tell me no, because in my mind is yes. And that's how I move. And that's how, I don't let nothing. If there's a problem, I don't focus on the problem. I'm focused on the solution. I'm not concerned with he say, she say, naysayers, or none of that. So anyway, I get the 3-4 jobs, and when I last left off, I was telling you how, and I didn't mean to end so abruptly. Apologize for that. But my son was like, "You can do better than that, Dad." And oh man, I think about that to today. Everything that I'm telling you, I tell myself, and to rewind or remind. If I wasn't talking to you, I'd be talking to myself. So I figure I might as well give it away to somebody that may want to chime in, lock in, you know what I mean, and get some motivation for themselves. Because this all I do is tell myself these old stories, remind myself, do self-inventory on where I was, where I'm at, and where I'm trying to go. And that's my only concern, my only focus. So I got the two jobs, and the one little detail shop, I knew that wasn't gonna work out. You know what I mean? I just took it. I was over here, excuse me, a father and son. You know what I mean? The father, he was racist. The son, he was trying to be more liberal on how times are. So he gave me a chance. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like a real application. It was something I saw on Craigslist or something like that. And I just went up there and hollered at him, and he basically gave it to me. And I knew it wasn't gonna work because the dude who was training me, like, I'm real observant, no matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing. And so the guy who was training me on the job, I saw that he like his whole hands and body was vibrating from basically doing this. They was getting cars like probably from like, there's been in sand and water, and they want you to beat the carpet up and get all this sand and stuff up and clean it up so they could resell it. So I saw the way his hands were shaking. I said, "Oh, I see what this is." You know what I mean? He can't do the job no more. They didn't wore him out. They didn't wore him to ain't nothing left, and they think they looking for anybody. So I'm like, okay, I did it for like 3 weeks. The whole time I was looking for another job, and then I had that and I had the cleaning job, and the man was paying me under the table, and he was giving me a check every 2 weeks for like $400. So that was cool. 800 over there. Then with this little thing I'm doing, 800 a month over there. And then with this little thing I'm doing, it was paying, like I said, I was doing like 2 or 3 cars a day, and depending on how bad the car was. And I only lasted there maybe about 2 weeks because I found another job. And so my goal in any and everything I'm doing, I'm always thinking about my kids first and me last, because it's easy for me to take care of me. I've been taking care of me since I was a shorty, and I need the bare minimum. And I just came out the joint from doing, eating noodles every day. So what did I really need? I didn't want it. I still, to this day, I'm not interested in none of these fast food places or nothing like that. I may treat myself to a good meal, but I don't want none of your McDonald's, none of your Chick-fil-A, none of your Culver's. I don't want none of that stuff. I'm not really interested in that. So I definitely wasn't interested when I first came home. So I was still going to the pantry. I'm at my sister's crib. I ain't, I got no rent. I got no cell phone bill. Only thing I gotta worry about is gas for the car. And so I got that little job. It's taking care of me. And then the other job, every 2 weeks, it's going to take care of the kids. Now I can start providing some child support. So, so that's what I did. And then, like I said, I worked a little detail job for about 2 weeks. And I went and got a little warehouse job, Rubbermaid Tupperware or someplace. It was second shift, but the pay was decent. And here's something that I left out, but very monumental and very touching to me. During them 90 days when I was at home and I'm riding around and I'm taking my mother places and we ripping and running and this and that. So one day I take her to the credit union, and she come out and she give me this little slip. And the slips with this person's particular credit union, you got to be referred by somebody. You can't just come up in there and open up an account. So my mom give me the slip, and she give me $12. And I wasn't home 2 weeks. And she said, take this $12 and this slip and go up in there and open up you an account. And it hurt my heart because I needed the $12 more than I needed an account because I didn't have nothing. And I said, Mom, I need the 12. I said, Mom, no, pride in the way. That's another thing for anybody coming home. You got to humble yourself because you ain't got nothing. You got to be real. You got to have a realistic outlook. Most of y'all was just in the kitchen, in the joint, acting like you got a A1 job, but then you come out here and washing dishes or going somewhere doing something that you think is beneath you. I mean, come on, man. Be real with yourself. You'd rather be out here with nothing than trying to get at something. So anyway, my mom give me the $12. I go up in there, open up the account. My pride is all the way in my stomach because I'm like, I feel little. I didn't know she was blessing me. I get the account. I come back out. She said, you get it? I said, yeah. I said, but Mom, I need it. She said, I know. She said, but you're not going to be down for long. And when you get some money, you need to be able to park it somewhere. The coldest thing she could have ever told me. So I get the job at the little Tupperware spot. And they say, Now, keep in mind, I ain't been out here working like that. This other little job was paying me with a little paper check, and the other both jobs was paying me with a paper check. Now I got this little warehouse job through this temp service or whatever, and they say all they do is direct deposit. You got to have a route number and this and that. Oh, I got that in my wallet. Boom. There you go. Mom was helping me out. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm getting direct deposit to the credit union. I've been with this credit union since then. They have been my ace in the hole on majority of every one of my endeavors. So, man, put your pride to the side. Stay humble. I took these humble jobs, but it didn't stop and it didn't end there because that's not where my mind was at. So now I got some steady income coming in every week. You know, I got a nice little check from this little warehouse job, driving the forklift or whatever I was doing. And I got I'm leaving there 11:30, 12 o'clock, whatever time they let us out. Sometimes we're working 10, 12 hours. And then I leave there and I go clean the offices. I'm in there 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Whoop, you know what I mean? I'm going to the pantry during the day, putting food in the crib for me and my sister and my niece. And lo and behold, my sister, she gets she ain't been paying her, she's going through a divorce. So she finna let the house go. And she told me that. So they sent her an envelope saying, the house is foreclosed or this and that, blah, 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 blah. She said she finna go move in with my brother. She asked me, was I coming? I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to stay here until the police come. And then after the police come, I'm going to still stay until they come with some wood and some nails. Because that's the type of guy I am. I don't believe you till I see it. So, now, I got a house to myself. I'm telling you, it's just a blessing. I got a house to myself, garage, all that. She gone. I go around the corner to the John Bonner Center. That's what it's called, a little resource center, whatever, for that neighborhood. I'm tapping into everything. They paying my water and my power. I'm living rent-free, utility-free, cell phone free, all of this. And I'm eating at the pantry with 2 jobs. Every 2 weeks, I take the check that I'm getting from the cleaning job and I go to Peoria and I visit. Because I got to keep this relationship that I built. So I'm going back and forth. I'm giving a check to my ex-wife, mother of my kids. And something I failed to mention is that, because I don't want to get, I'm a tiptoe on when I get to talking about anybody else, but it's truth and it's part of my story, and that's the reason why I got to share it. So, in the midst of me doing that 6 years, ex-wife, she got pregnant. And not by me, because Illinois ain't no conjugal visits. So, when I come home, my kids got a sibling that's 4. In my eyes, that's my daughter too. You get what I'm saying? Because that's how I come up and that's how I was raised. My mother, shout out to her, and I ain't spent too long on her, but I got to give her flowers while she here. My mother done raised probably 20 foster kids and adopted 5. And in addition to that, took my younger sister, who we got the same father, she raised her. Any other woman would have had a grudge. Or some of these modern day, or I ain't gonna even get into all that. That says a lot about her. So that flowed into me. So I love kids, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I say I got 8 kids, but biologically I got 7. Because when I came home, that's my child too. I'm gonna take care of her like I'm gonna take care of the rest. And I'm the only, and until another man come along, I'll be father. He come in, then I'll be stepfather. But I'm the only dad she know. You know what I mean? She called me dad. That's my daughter. So anyway, I come home. Now I got 6 kids. I got 5 that I had when I left, and I got a bonus one. And so when I'm coming home, every 2 weeks, give my ex-wife that check, and then I take the kids out. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to get her to come too. I'm trying to get her to be a part. My youngest boy 6, she 4. They go 4, 6, 8, 10. Then 15, then 19. When I left, my oldest daughter was in the 8th grade. I missed her 8th grade graduation. I missed her high school graduation. Now she in college. So get all of this meat of this story out all at once. I'm coming back from Peoria, visiting, because like I said, I was doing it every 2 weeks. I'm taking my oldest daughter. She didn't did what most college students did, and she didn't withdraw from the class and didn't know she was going to Xavier in Cincinnati. And she had to take a semester and clean that up. So she in Champaign going to a junior college. And she telling me, Dad, I want to just, sometimes I want to give up. And it's snowing. It's snowing bad. And she living at a family friend house. And where she living at, I just come out the joint doing 6 years. I couldn't have lived where she was living at. It was a pit bull chained up to the porch. It was a weight set outside. And she said she was living in, wasn't even a room. It was like the attic. I said, look, it was snowing that day. She ran up in there, got her books, put some stuff down. She come back out. I said, hey, I don't mean to sound selfish. I said, but I need you to stay in school. I missed your 8th grade graduation. And I said, I done missed your high school graduation. I want to see you walk a line. And so we talking about that. And she said she gonna try to stick in there. And I said, look, I'm home now. I'm gonna make things easier for you. Just stick with me and give me a moment. So anyway, we ride, and it's snowing real bad. I'm finna drop her off up on campus so she can go to the library. She got a paper due. And she said this is what she do, kind of kill her time, stay away. I said, that's the best way. When you stay with somebody, you should never be there. You should only sleep there. For anybody who's staying with somebody, you should not be on somebody's couch all day long and all that. You should wake up before they up, and you should go to sleep after they sleep. You shouldn't be in their house like that. Anyway, that's for anybody living off somebody or living with somebody. You need to be actively away from their house doing something to get yourself in a better situation. So anyway, me and my daughter, we riding on our way to campus. It's snowing bad. It was a guy in a wheelchair, a student with a backpack on. No, this is only, he got one of them fast wheelchairs, and he rolling. He rolling in the snow. I said, you see him? And I got to share this because me and my daughter, she get tired of me saying this. I said, I don't know his name, but we going to call him Free Willy. I said, you see Free Willy? Do it look like he giving up? I said, and he got a lot of excuses, and I don't even know him, but just by looking at him, I said, he out here in the snow, in a wheelchair, rolling, going to school. With the whole, like I said, we was in Champaign. She was going to a junior college but she, near U of I, Champaign, Illinois. And he got all the University of Illinois gear on, wheelchair got the University of Illinois gear on, and I don't know where he was on his way to. It don't even matter. The fact that he was in the snow and he was getting it, that's all I needed to see. I said, if that don't motivate you, I said, because if Free Willy can do it, I know you can do it. And that's motivating me telling that right now. Because see, it's some people out here, they trying to put crutches on and they can walk. You get what I'm saying? And we as a people, as a person, as young black men, young black boys, man, don't put no crutch on yourself because somebody passed away or, this or that or, somebody didn't hug you. Come on now. We don't need no crutches because Free Willy, he rolling. And I'm sure with the way he was moving in that snow, he had determination in his eyes. And whatever he set out to do, I'm sure he's doing it today. And I don't even know this man. Anyway, so me and my daughter, we laughed about that. I dropped her off, hugged her. My brother had gave me 6 months. Within about 4 months, I was off his phone plan. I got me and my 2 oldest daughters. We all on the same phone plan. And my youngest daughter, I was telling her, when I get home, say everything gonna be straight, this and that. She said, oh, you get home, you probably gonna have a track phone. I was like, yeah, look at your track phone now. But anyway, got them little iPhones or whatever, you know what I mean? It was popping at the time. And, I'm living. I'm doing all right. And so, because I don't have any, I ain't took on, I'm not doing nothing outlandish. And my ex-wife, her and I, we wasn't talking at the time, and it had nothing to do with that she had a child. That's a blessing, because if the shoe was on the other foot, and she was finna get sentenced, and I was in the courtroom, hey, I'm just keeping it 100. I probably would have had somebody in the car, you know what I'm saying, with a cup of hen, rolling a couple of them up, and finna go do whatever. You get what I'm saying? So I ain't knocking nobody, because, hey, when you know self, you know others. And everybody got to live, you know what I mean? I made a choice to throw rocks at the penitentiary and end up getting locked up, so what was she supposed to suffer and wait? You know what I mean? So we all human. I don't knock nobody. But anyway, uh, and when I first came home, I kind of left that out, but I'm gonna kind of throw all of this in there because it's all part of my story. Um, I got with another young lady who we've been knowing each other since probably 17, 18 years old. Anyway, and we was just hanging, having fun, you know. And at the time, she didn't have no kids. I thought it was safe because the last thing I wanted to do was come home and have another child, because I didn't even want a relationship, because I knew I didn't have nothing to offer nobody. And I know I had to get myself straight, and I had to get some support to them kids. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm a responsible guy, always have been. And ain't no way you going to see me looking nice and my kids not looking nice. Ain't no way you going to see me riding and my kids walking or on the bus. I'm just not like that. If you with me, you got to be a reflection of me, whether that's my kid, my woman, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to put myself last, and I'm going to put others first. But anyway, so I got with her, and I end up out in Indianapolis, and she beat me out there. You know what I mean? And I'm just telling her, hey, ain't no opportunities here in Peoria, so I'm going to Indianapolis. And, out of convenience, we end up as a couple. Um, and lo and behold, everything was cool and fine and dandy. She started to find her way, got on her feet, got her a nice little apartment, this and that, everybody straight. So, I'm like, we can kind of go our separate ways. And you know how it go, fellas. As soon as you're thinking it's over, bam, she say she pregnant. Now, I done came home and with 5 kids plus a bonus one. That's 6. She tell me she pregnant. You get what I'm saying? And next thing I know, me being an honorable guy, first thing I do is I call my ex-wife, say, hey, look, before you hear from somebody else, you know what I mean? I done got this young lady pregnant. She keeping the baby, everything. So I'd rather you hear it from me. Okay, cool, that's fine, that's dandy. Me and my ex-wife, we wasn't messing around and nothing at the time. And so I got 5, a bonus one, and one on the way. So during this process, it's a lot going on. It's stories within stories. Things are happening daily. Um, my sister, before she had left out the house, she had been telling me, she like, bro, I got this piece of paper that I cut out the news from some years ago while you was locked up, and your name in here in unclaimed properties. And I'm like, I never thought nothing of it. And I'm on this phone, and she used to be like, did you check it out? No, I ain't checked it out. So I finally tapped into it, and come to find out, they had did a class action lawsuit at Jackson Hewitt or something like that, and I had been, filing my taxes with them, and it was one of them things where they was denying people that early money, the early check, but then they was really getting the early check. Excuse me. And so, long story short, I get them all document paper that they needed and this and that, and they said, you know what I'm saying, I was eligible for, they owed me in this class action lawsuit about $3,800, $4,000 or something, right? So I'm like, yeah, okay, I believe when I see it, you know what I mean? One day I come home from work, boom, there it is in the mail. And I was like, man, I sat down with the check. And I said, man, you got to make your next move your best move. So um, I sat there and I was like, what you gonna do before you even cash the check? What you gonna do with it? You know, and when I was locked up, I was thinking like, hey, I'm gonna get me a tow truck, or I'm gonna start me a lawn service because I knew how to mow lawns from back there, Champagne Park District. From you know what I mean, they showed me. So anyway, I cashed the check. Before I even cashed the check, I started looking for a tow truck on Craigslist. And you know, you win some, you lose some. You know what I mean? I done got into a lot of different business ventures from that day on, and you know, not everything is always on the up and up. Anyway, uh, I find I find some guys around the corner. You know what I mean? They got a tow truck, some brothers. You know, they was brothers in real life, but they was, you know what I'm saying, some white boys. You know what I'm saying? That's in the neighborhood, and they doing their tow thing. So I go holler at him, this and that. He want 4,500 for the truck. You know, it's a burn. You know, it's a Sanford son, but it got the, you know what I'm saying, it got the flatbed. You know what I mean? He showed me his work, this and that. He kind of walked me through on, you know, he dropped a car and picked it back up and all of that. And, you know what I mean? It has some issues, you know what I mean? But all I'm looking at is like, hey, it's something that you know what I'm saying, that I can make happen. So he wouldn't shake off the 45. I said, all I got is 38, you know. My little sister, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, if I mention you, I'm really giving you a shout out, you know what I'm saying? Because these is instrumental pieces and points, you know what I'm saying? I call my little sister, she helped me, you know what I'm saying? She gave me $400. I give them 4,200. You know what I'm saying? I got me a tow truck. You get what I'm saying? So I park it at the crib. I keep on with the other two jobs. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to figure everything out and trying to get my license and this and that because I got a big thoughts for this tow truck. But you know what you don't know, you don't know. So I went and got my license changed to a Class B with the air brakes. You know, when I did that, that wasn't nothing but a little quick test of $25 or something like that. So I did that and smacked the plates on there. You know, all of that. I'm getting ready. You know, I'm finna hit it hard, and at least I think. And then what killed me was you know, in order to get that, to be able to go on the highway and really, you know, set yourself up with contracts with insurance companies and all that, you need the big boy insurance, and I couldn't afford it, and so I just started doing with the dudes that I bought it from. You know, they, you know, just doing local tolls. I slapped me a little magnetic sign on there from Vistaprint, $50, $60 tolls. Got me some business cards. Start handing them out to the people at the job I was working at, and you know, it wasn't long, 2 3 weeks. You know what I mean? I left the job. The daytime job, the second shift job, I kept the cleaning job. So now I'm out here hustling, you know what I'm saying, with the tow truck. And if you don't know yourself, you got to really question yourself on what you can do, what you're willing to do, and what you won't do, and all of that kind of stuff. Because what I learned in the process that I already knew about myself, I don't like to get dirty at all. I can't stand dirt in my nails, none of that. Never have. As a baby, my mom said I used to cry about them. I mean, about getting little pudding and stuff on my fingers. You get what I'm saying? And to this day, I don't want to be dirty at all. So the days you can really make some money in a tow truck is when the weather is bad. It's raining. It's this. It's that. And I'm not crawling up under nothing in no rain or none of that. So me in the tow truck, it wasn't going to work out. But what I started doing and what I learned from the dudes that I bought it from, because they was telling me, because they was doing the same thing, was I started scrapping. Meaning, like, if I ride through alleys and this and that in my personal car, and then I slide through and, you know, hit them and say, hey, man, you want to sell that car, you know what I mean? I give you $200 for it, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Probably a little less if you ain't got the title. And I just take it, and then I got cool with the tire guy down the street. He'd take the tires off of me. He'd give me a couple dollars if the tires is good or whatever, but you got to take the tires off before you could scrap it. And then I bought me a Sawzall, and, you know, I go up under the hood and take everything metal out. Because this what the guys that I bought it from, this what they showed me. That's how they was eating. You know, they was doing little hood tows and, you know, buying cars. So I copied them, did the same little hustle. And then, you know, I cut off the alternator and all that type of stuff and take it out. Like I said, I had a crib with a garage and a driveway and all this, and my sister done left, you know. So I just throw that stuff in the garage, and they say, you know, on days that it's slow, or you know, you got a big bill due or rent due, all that metal and stuff, you just take it and you know pile it up, and then you take it all at once. So that's what I was doing. That was my hustle, and I was doing that, and I was cleaning, you know, cleaning the offices, and so from there, it's looking like I got more going on than I really do. But I'm just being blessed because I never saw this check popping up. You know, I planned on getting a tow truck or some lawn equipment and this and that, but you know, I didn't know when that was gonna come. I was gonna have to stack that up, and you know what I'm saying. So anyway, everybody looking at me like, oh, he on, he out there doing X, Y, and Z. No, I'm out here being blessed. Is what I was being, and still am. Thank you, Lord. So I'm just walking you through just different things, and anything that I'm saying, uh, you can do it too. I mean, it's not hard. I think a lot of times we complicate things because we don't try, possibly because we're just lazy. But anyway, how the tow truck started and ended so quick. It just didn't. You know, it was a factor, but only in the stories that I'm telling. And so my biggest probably problem was that other people knew. You know, I posted it on Facebook to try to get some, not some likes, but to get some money. Hopefully, somebody around town would have wanted to tow, but you know, the word get back around, this and that. Long story short, me and my ex-wife, we started back dealing with each other. You know what I mean? She's seeing I'm coming out there. You know what I mean? I'm accepting my daughter. You know, I'm taking the kids out, movies, go karting, all types of stuff. You know, every 2 weeks I'm consistent, giving her money. You know, all of this and that. And so we gets back together. So I got a baby on the way. The next thing you know, I mean, I already had 5 by her. She gets pregnant again. So I came home and had 5 with a bonus of 6. I get my girl pregnant, and then I get my ex-wife pregnant, and then I said, all need to be out here. Plus, you got my boys. You know what I mean? They 6, 8, and 10, and I was in the gangs. I jumped off the porch at 13. I was trying to get to a point to where I get them out here in Indianapolis because I know what, you know, Peoria, Illinois, the whole state. You know what I mean? Rooted to the tutor. I mean, it's just gang infested, and so I wasn't trying to have that lifestyle for them. I wasn't trying to have them. Nobody come up on them like, oh man, you DB little boys. Oh man, come here, let me holler at you. You know what I'm saying? And no, I wasn't trying to have nobody do nothing like that to them. So I was trying to get them out there with me. Um, so so that happened, and now everybody out here with me or on their way in the process. And I had a tow truck, and I got 2 babies on the way, and now I'm just sitting in the tow truck, and didn't know it then, but I was going through depression, and wasn't making no money, and the only thing I got going for me is really I got this. I'm going over here to this John Bonner Center. I'm involved with anything they email me or call me about. I'm participating because you got to do things to be in little programs, and they was helping pay my power and my utilities. So anytime they call, you know, in any time of these little programs, they need names. You know, that's where they get their funding from. They need names on a list. You know what I mean? They need your signature. So I understood the game from just reading about different stuff and all of that. Like I said, I was self-educated myself in the joint, so I knew stuff like that, you know, and I was participating because they was helping me, you know. So from there, like I said, I was in depression, and I'm in this tow truck, and this John Bonner Center, they gets me into like a union program. Okay. So I go take this little course, take a little test, little math test, whatever. Then you get to choose, you know, which one you're gonna go into. You know, you're trying to be a plumber, you're trying to be an electrician, you're trying to be a welder, you know, whatever you're trying to be. All right, cool. I ended up doing construction. You know, it was the quickest one. I was gonna scale to the pay the quickest. I did that. Took this little 3 week little thing. Whole time I'm doing this doing the tow truck, the motor go out. Boom. No, I take that back. First the transmission go out. Boom, I guess that fixed. You know what I'm saying? Um, my mama helped me out. Bam, I get the transmission fixed. Now I'm out there running back again. And this was all a short window. I'm talking about from the time I bought the truck to the end of it was probably maybe 4 or 5 months. Then the motor go out. And that's what I said about business. I can't say that them boys got me for the 4200 because they probably knew more than me that tow truck was at the end. All I saw was a tow truck and an opportunity. But I looked at it like this. I learned something from it. And I didn't blow the 4200. I still really had the 4200 even though it wasn't physically in my hand. So what happened was with the tow truck, after the motor go out, I gets it towed. I called them. Hey man, you owe me a favor, man. At least tow it to my crib. And he did on GP. You know what I mean? White boy, they cool. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna shout their names out or nothing, but you know what I'm saying? They some cool down earth hood boys. You get what I'm saying? So he towed it back over to my crib. And so I was messing with Craigslist in addition, you know, I was moving fast, all legal stuff. In addition to me, you know what I'm saying, messing with these cars and all of this, I was always on Craigslist. Like I said, the cell phone was so fascinating to me. I never watched TV. I never did anything on with that phone other than hustle. So I was always on Craigslist and all of this and looking for little deals and this and that and buy stuff and sell it and this, all kind of stuff. So anyway, I slapped the truck on Craigslist. I'm willing to trade or whatever. The bid worked, but I can't prove it to you because the motor is gone. Some boy, another white guy from out of, he was out of Terre Haute. Me and him chatting back and forth. He said, hey man, look, I got a tow company. He said, and I don't really care if your truck run. I just want the bed. I said, hey, well, the bed is here. It worked, man. He said, I'm gonna put my faith in you that it worked. He said, well, all I got is 2 Mustangs and some parts for the Mustang. Come on with it. He come on with it, and he unload all these parts. Like he said, he had like 4 Mustangs, and he put 2 together, and these is the spare parts. I take all them parts, throw them in the garage because that was already part of the little tow thing. I got a garage full of metal and alternators and stuff like that. Anyway, throw that stuff in there. 2 Mustangs, boom, both of them running. That's more than 4,200 all day long. I done got my money back. Now I'm smacking that for sale. And then I used to play this game on Craigslist. I hate that Craigslist changed up the way it did because I was eating off of it. But I used to do on Craigslist, man, buy or trade. I don't care if you want to buy it or trade it. And I used to be in so many different whips and this and that, and I'm selling cars, and you know that was my hustle. And I would see cars online, and maybe somebody trying to sell it. I would watch until the price go down. I see they just ain't marketing right. They ain't cleaned it up. They got trash in it, or it's dirty. It's out in some field, and I go get it. And I conversate with them for a long time, and that's what I did. You know what I mean? And then I got into the construction. I was making a little money, probably about $1,000 a week. You know, and I still got the little car hustle that I play with on the weekends, or you know, when I get off of work. You know, looking for cars, and I probably would go through maybe 3 cars a month. You know what I mean? And had a little extra change for that. Excuse me. I let the cleaning company go. It just got in the way. Way before I started, while I was in the construction training, I let that class go. I mean, let that cleaning job go because it started to get too far, and you know now I can just kind of stay in the neighborhood and monitor everything. And I got these 2 babies coming. You know, I just really can't think. Like I said, I didn't know it. I was in depression. So anyway, from by the time I'm doing the construction, they getting ready to come board up my sister's house. And now it's time for me to find a place. Ex-wife finna come down with the kids. She you know what I mean? We finna we finna give this thing another try. And let me show you how God got a sense of humor. And at some point, I got to come to an end because, like I said, I got stories within stories within stories because I could have drugged just what I was saying. That was so many different things, so many different, but all of that was moving in that short time frame within like 5, 6 months from the time I got to Indy. I mean, God was just blessing me. And it looked like to anybody on the outside that I was doing more than what I was doing, but I was just getting blessed, and I was using them tools. You know what I'm saying? Things that I learned, and I wasn't living outside my means. So anyway, uh, I gotta say this. During the midst of all of that, um, that's what I was gonna say. God got a sense of humor. So check this out. I had 2 kids in 1 week. They were supposed to be 2 months apart. And so I'm working this little job up the street, and I just got finished with the construction class, and I'm supposed to be starting construction in a minute, so I take this little job up the street, little warehouse job. It was like 5 minutes from the house. So I take the little job up the street, this second shift. I'm just in there in depression, just, you know what I mean? Something to do, something, a little check going on, you know what I'm saying? I work a little job. When I worked a job, it was just somewhere to go think. Because I wasn't finna be the best worker. I wasn't trying to be the best worker because it's a dead end job. So anyway, I'm working this little job, so I'm up here thinking, waiting to this construction thing kick off so I can go work construction. So anyway, uh, I tell the people I got, a baby on the way. They took your cell phones. You couldn't have your cell phone. So I told them, hey, I had to give my girl your number. I get a call. I got a baby on the way. So I had my daughter on a Sunday. So okay, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I go back to work Monday, and on Friday. Now keep in mind they're supposed to be 2 months apart. And for anybody listening, let me put this. I don't want to make it seem like I had a wife and a girlfriend at the same time, because that's not how it happened. My girl told me she was pregnant, but we was at the end. We wasn't messing around no more. Then I got back with my ex-wife, and we hadn't been messing around from no time that I got out the joint, but we started messing around when I'm coming to visit, because she thought it was thoughtful that I told her this and that and blah blah blah. So, not simultaneously, but this is how it started to look, and I gotta say that because that was kind of held against me at some point. Like, you know what I mean? I'm running double breasted, but so 2 months later, you get what I'm saying? I gets her pregnant, gets my ex-wife pregnant. But when it comes down to I have my daughter on a Sunday, then I'm at work, then on Friday I get a call at the job say, hey, they said somebody is delivering a baby, your baby. I said, no, that must be old news. I don't even know where you would have got that from. They like, no, you need to call this number. I look at the number. This is a 309 number. This in Peoria. Come to find out, wifey, she done her water in the birth 2 months early. She had the baby prematurely. You get what I'm saying? So now I got a son and a daughter and a son. They 5 days apart. And then this is why I say God got a sense of humor. My other daughter, who's my bonus daughter, her and my youngest daughter, their birthdays a day apart. So it's 3 birthdays in 1 week. You see how God worked that out? You can't do nothing but laugh about it. You know what I'm saying? I accepted my daughter, and then I had another daughter the day after her birthday. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if you can follow, but hey, it's kind of hard for me to follow sometimes, and I'm the one living it. But anyway, I had to share that because God got a sense of humor. Yeah, because hey, the whole time I was getting blessed like that with all of that, with all this Craigslist and all this tow truck stuff and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And I get hit with the two, steadily getting blessed. I was so nervous because I felt like things are going so good. I hope I don't mess up. I I hope I don't do nothing to mess this up because it's kind of unbelievable the way everything was working in my favor. And then that was my bump in the road. The two kids. You get what I'm saying? Back to back. But it wasn't a bump in the road. It's just because me, I don't focus on the problem. I'm a push. I'm a push every time. Every time I'm a push. You know what I'm saying? And going back to what my son said in the beginning, he said, "Oh, Dad, you can do better than that." I took off, and it wasn't even 6 months. And if you was on the outside looking in, I mean, I had people in my own family, my own support system, who swore I was back getting down. But I'm a hustler. I know how to hustle, and that's the difference between a lot of people. Some people used to sell drugs. I was one of them, but they didn't know how to hustle. I can buy a book for $1.79 and sell it to somebody else for $3.50. It don't matter what it is, a cup, a book, a pencil. As long as I can profit. I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler. I ain't trying to hustle you, and I ain't trying to hustle nobody. And I ain't trying to lie to nobody, and I ain't trying to deceive nobody. You get what I'm saying? And that's the difference. I got to be able to look at myself at night. You know what I'm saying? I got to know, you know what I mean? And it's not because of you. It's because of him. I'm trying to do right by him. Because if I can do right by him, doing right by you is easy. You know what I mean? And that can be the message. That can be also an understanding on you knowing something about somebody else. If they can't do right by God, you got to know you don't stand a chance. Because he's giving you life and breath. So, if you ain't trying to do right by God, why would you want to do right to me or to anybody else? I mean, they just don't stand a chance. But like I said, I got stories within stories, and I'm gonna put this to a close. You know what I'm saying? That was a lot of meat because a lot of things happened to me, basically really fast. And had I not been mentally prepared or sober minded or open hearted, I wouldn't have saw it. I wouldn't have been able to embrace all of them things. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, it happened just the same way I said it. You know, I was able to build them relationships back up. I was able to come out here to Indianapolis. I hit the ground running. I got some jobs. I never took the job and said, this is what I'm going to do for the next 5 years. I just took the job and kept moving and kept moving and kept moving. And to this day, I'm steady moving. I don't stop. It doesn't stop. You know what I mean? And so if you're in a situation to where you're sitting somewhere on a bunk and you're trying to figure it out, get yourself right while you're derailed. B, if you're out here on the streets, humble yourself. Take whatever job that'll take you. You know, and I'm not knocking nobody for what they do. If you smoke weed and you can't put the blunt out or stop doing all of that, go get a job at a restaurant. They'll hire you. They don't care nothing about that. If you can't put your phone down, go get a job at the gas station. Because here's the thing, I done seen guys in the joint. They be happy and really think they something because they work in the kitchen, or they work in commissary, or they work in property, or they work in just anywhere in the joint for $28 a month. I done seen people who get $15 a month for being a janitor on the deck, and they think they somebody. And I'm not knocking you, but have that same pride out here in the real world. Don't be afraid to go to Cracker Barrel or to one of these steakhouses. I was just telling my boy the other day, I said, hey man, look, if you want to know where some real money at, all you gotta do is look around. You know that restaurant that you want to go to, that everybody talk about, that is you're gonna spend $250 to $300? That's where you need to go get a job at. Because you can eat the food for free. And then they probably make about $20,000 a day and they might be breaking down the tips amongst all the workers. I mean, you got to know yourself. Just what I said about the towing. I realized I didn't like to get dirty. I knew that before then. But I bought the tow truck anyway. And I'm glad that God gave me a way out. And the man bought it. I'm glad I didn't get stuck with it and had to scrap it. Because I wouldn't have got 4,200. I wouldn't have got two Mustangs and a bunch of parts. You know what I'm saying? So, if you willing, there is a way. If you ain't got no car, go get a job down the street. Get what's in walking distance. And build up from there. See, like I said, I can solve so many problems, but I can't sit here and solve all your problems. I'm just giving you some tools on what to do and how to do it. You know what I mean? And I can live my life as an example on what to do. You know what I'm saying? Or what I was doing. And you can copy that and paste it or do whatever you want to do in your own life. I'm just telling you what I did. I want to be a living testimony. And I want to show somebody, hey, I went from nothing. But I had to humble myself. I had to swallow my pride. I had to listen to advice when advice was given. And I had to take some action. I couldn't be lazy. And that's what I did. And I left off on, I had the two babies. You know what I'm saying? My two little babies, my boy and my girl. Now I'm 8 deep. 8 deep. With responsibilities, sets of eyes. And I got one leading the pack who finna graduate from college. And I gotta make an example with her to show them this is what I'm willing to do if you willing to do this. You get what I'm saying? So I can't spoil them. I don't spoil them. I ain't trying to spoil nobody. I don't believe in that. I believe in hard work. So I'm gonna leave off with that, and then that way, you know what I'm saying. I hate that I even had to involve anybody else in this conversation, in these stories, but this is a monumental moments and monumental parts of my life because, like I said, all I ever wanted to be was a good father. And I've been a father since I was 17 years old. Now I'm 49. I got 7 years left before I get all of them out the nest. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to get some game and give somebody some insight on me and what I did, what I've been through, where I was at. That way you can learn. You know what I mean? You can take these stories, you can pass it on to somebody because just doing the numbers, a father of 8 and a fella, I ain't supposed to make it. The lifestyle and the things that I was doing in my young age, I wasn't even supposed to see 25. I ain't got a cut, a gunshot, a bruise, a tattoo. I don't have nothing on me but some hair, and that's missing from up top. You know what I mean? I've been blessed long time ago. Didn't even know it when I was a lost man. But with that, we're going to end on that. And I'm going to end with same way it started. You can do better than that. That's what my son said. Oh, Dad, you can do better than that. And I'm going to say that to you. You can do better than that. Whatever it is you're doing, you can do better than that. If you're not happy with who you are, you can do better than that. But you can't do it just thinking it. You know what I'm saying? Faith without works is dead. I know you've heard that one before. And if you ain't, there it is. Faith without works is dead. And you don't get no kudos for doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm not on here looking for no kudos for being a man and being responsible. And you know, and everybody else might, you know, another person may look at me and see a whole nother story. Or they may got dealt another story that say, I ain't. But that's okay. Because I know what I do. And I know I'm doing the best that I can. Yeah, everybody want more. I want more too. But you ain't getting my more. Go get your more from somewhere else. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Because, anyway, we're going to end with that. Dad, you can do better than that. Any dad. Just because you're sitting in the cell today, you know, Lord willing, you got an outdate. You can do better than that. You can use this time to fix yourself, repair yourself, get your mind right, get your heart right. Don't come out with all that, payback and all of that. Screw your head on. Be an example. Be a living example. We all out here testimony. We all got stories. We all a walking story. And I'm just trying to share. And with that, I'm out. Peace. I appreciate you for your time, your patience, and your heart and your mind. And hopefully something I said then put some on you, or you can put it on somebody else. And if we can get one person to change, hey, we made a difference. With that, I'm out. Peace.